in this high availability, we have one more option called proactive high availability. Okay, and this proactive high availability is turned off. What is this proactive high availability? Let us try to understand. Okay. Let us say, guys, everything is working fine. We have ES6i1, ES6i2. ES6i1 is having some virtual machines. 1, 2, 3. And your environment is working fine, but this ES6i1 is downgraded. Downgraded in the sense it is having some hardware issues. Let us say this ES6i1 is having 2 SMPS. Okay, SMPS it is used to supply the power to the hardware, to the server. It is having SMPS 1, SMPS 2. One SMPS goes down. So it will consider, the HA will consider this host as downgraded. Okay. So if the other SMPS goes down, this server will not be available, correct?
Yes.
So what this proactive HA will do, when the performance is downgraded of this hardware, it will move the virtual machines from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. Okay, without any downtime. So if you want to enable the proactive HA, you need to enable DRS. Okay, because DRS will move the live virtual machines, correct? We didn't cover the proactive HA previously because we didn't cover the DRS. Proactive HA is dependent on DRS. So we need to understand DRS first to enable the proactive HA. If you see here, proactive HA, if you click edit or if you disable DRS, let us disable the DRS. If you click OK, and if you go to high availability, you will get the error here. Restart virtual machine. Okay. Failure. Okay. To enable proactive HA, you must enable DRS, correct? So this proactive HA is dependent on DRS. If DRS is not enabled, proactive HA will not work. Let us enable DRS again. We will click OK, and we can enable the proactive HA now. You will go to edit option and you will enable the proactive HA. In this proactive HA, you have two options, manual and automatic. Manual means DRS will suggest the recommendation for virtual machine and host. So if there is any downgrade in your environment, if you select manual method, DRS will give you the suggestions whether to move the virtual machines or not. If you select automated automation level, automated, okay, so virtual machines will be migrated to healthy host and degraded host will be entered into quarantine or maintenance mode. So guys, when you select automated, so we have two ESXi host. Let us say one ESXi1 is downgraded. It is having some hardware issues and ESXi2 is healthy. If you select automated, virtual machines will be migrated to a healthy host and this degraded host will be entered into quarantine or maintenance mode. So guys, let us try to understand what is the meaning of quarantine and maintenance mode. Okay, so if you select automated option, in remediation we have three options here: quarantine mode, maintenance mode and mixed mode. Let us try to understand these three different modes one by one. First we'll start with maintenance mode. If you select maintenance mode, okay, so let us say ESXi1 is having some virtual machines and it is having some hardware issues, so it will be downgraded, and you have selected maintenance mode. So when this hardware server is downgraded, it will put the ESXi host into maintenance mode. And what this maintenance mode will do, it will activate the DRS. DRS will put all the virtual machines from this ESXi host to another ESXi host. That is why DRS is important for proactive HA. So it will move all the virtual machines from downgraded virtual machine ESXi host to ESXi2. This is the maintenance mode. Let us try to understand the other mode. Again, let us say ESXi1 is having some virtual machines and we put this ESXi host in quarantine mode. What this quarantine mode will do, it will let these virtual machines run on ESXi1 only, but it will tell DRS not to move any virtual machine on ESXi1. So because DRS, what is the functionality of DRS? For balancing the host, it moves the virtual machines here and there. So if you select quarantine mode, ESXi will or HA, proactive HA will tell the DRS do not move any virtual machines to ESXi1, but it will keep its own virtual machines and it will go into quarantine mode. Clear guys? Till here any doubt?
No, sir.
Then we have one more mode. That mode is known as mixed mode. This mixed mode, it is a mixture of quarantine and maintenance mode. Let us try to understand what does it mean by mixture of quarantine and maintenance mode. If the issue is not severe, okay, what it will do, what this ESXi will do, it will run its own virtual machines. It will not allow the other virtual machines to be run here. If the issue is severe, it will move the virtual machines from ESXi1 to another ESXi host. This is the mixed mode. Clear guys? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so that problem can be related to like fan problem, RAM problem, SMPS problem. Okay, if the hardware is having some issues, that ESXi host will be in downgraded mode. Clear guys? So you will configure the proactive HA this way. Any doubt till here?
No, sir.
Okay, so guys, you should know, okay, you should always remember the differences here. What is the use of vMotion, DRS, predictive DRS, HA, proactive HA. Okay, now what we will do, we will see fault tolerance. Snapshot, it captures the current image of virtual machine. Okay, so after capturing the current image of virtual machine, let us say what is the use of this snapshot. Okay, so imagine you have created one virtual machine. Let us say it is VM1, and you need to install 2 or 3 applications on this virtual machine. So let us say app1, then you will install app2, then you will install app 3. So you have installed app 1 on this virtual machine, then you have installed app 2. Okay, everything is working fine. Then you have installed app 3 and this virtual machine is corrupted. It is down. So what you will have to do again, you will have to you will have to install the operating system, or you need to install all the applications one by one. Okay, this time taking process. So for that, what will you do? You will install the app 1 and take the snapshot. Okay, so in this snapshot, app 1 is available and system is working fine. Then you will install app 2, then you will take the snapshot too. In the second snapshot, you have app 1 plus app 2. So here if it is failed, okay, if the app 2 is corrupting your virtual machine, then you can go back to app 1 by restoring to snapshot 1. So let us say everything is working fine, app 1 and app 2, both of them are working fine. Then you have installed app 3 and this machine gets corrupted. Okay, so what will you do? You will restore to snapshot 2 where app 1 and app 2 are working fine. This is the use of snapshot. Is it clear? What is the use of snapshot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it captures the current image of virtual machine and it will create 3 files. Okay, the snapshot is having 3 files. So virtual machine, it is a collection of different files. So it will have 3 files for snapshot. So the first file is VMSD and it is a part of virtual machine. We take a snapshot or not. So when we create the virtual machine, this VMSD file is created. Okay, whether you create the snapshot or not, this file is there. After creating the snapshot, we have 2 more files. So when we take the snapshot, 2 more files are created, VMSN and delta.vmdk. So VMSN contains the snapshot state file and delta.vmdk is the hard disk of this snapshot. So when we take the snapshot, so as we have discussed, when you made any changes on operating system or application like updating or upgrading, there is a possibility on your operating system will be corrupted. Okay, so there is a possibility that the operating system will be corrupted. So you will restore it from backup. It will take a lot of time. So if you are restoring from the backup, it will take a lot of time. So to save the time, we take the snapshot. So before making any changes, take the snapshot of virtual machine. If something goes wrong, you can restore the virtual machine immediately faster in the previous state. So guys, this snapshot is not a backup solution. It is not a backup. It is the part of virtual machine. So VM deleted snapshot. Okay, so if the VM is deleted, the snapshot is also deleted. So it is not a backup. It is a part of the virtual machine. And it is not outside. It is there in your virtual machine only. Okay, after creating the snapshot, whatever we made the changes will be saved in the new virtual hard disk. So we have seen that it will create 2 files. Okay, so here in this example, this is the original virtual machine. You have created the snapshot. Okay, so this is your original hard disk file. This is the snapshot file. So this original hard disk file will be frozen. Your data will be saved in the snapshot hard disk file. Okay, the hard disk file is your delta.vmdk. So after creating the snapshot, whatever we made the changes will be saved in the new virtual hard disk, not in the primary hard disk, not in the original hard disk. original hard disk will be freezed and with read only option. So it will have only the read only option. If something goes wrong, we will revert back to the original hard disk. So if something goes wrong here, we will revert back to the original hard disk, which is having the original data, which is having the working state, you can say. And snapshot hard disk will be deleted. This hard disk will be deleted if you go back to the previous state. And let us see the scenario 2. In the scenario 1, okay, something goes wrong here. If something goes wrong, this file will be deleted. We will go back to the original state. Let us see the scenario 2. If everything is working fine, we delete the snapshot. Okay, so here we have two hard disks. Okay, we have virtual machine and we have this original hard disk file. So there are many situations where you can take the snapshot, guys. Like yesterday we have taken the example of installing the multiple applications, or if you are a software developer and you are testing your software in multiple phases. So you can take the snapshot of multiple phases. Okay, so there are many situations. So let us say this is your virtual machine and it will have the hard disk file. When you take the snapshot, it will create the snapshot hard disk. When you delete this virtual machine, this file and this file, both of them will be deleted. It is not going to store outside. Okay, it is the part of this virtual machine only. This is the one point. Okay, and it is now not a backup solution. It is a part of VM. VM deleted, snapshot is also deleted. It is not outside. It is not saved outside. And these are the points here. So guys, after creating the snapshot, whatever we made the changes will be saved on the new virtual hard disk. So guys, this is the VM virtual hard disk. This is the new virtual hard disk. This is a snapshot hard disk. Let us say it is the database virtual machine. Database virtual machine. And what you have done, you have, let us say, saved some data. You have written ABC. After that, what you have done, you have taken the snapshot. This file is created. So from now onwards, okay, this main hard disk is frozen. It is read only. Okay, and let us say you are writing the new data like E, F, G, H, I, everything will be written in the new hard disk. It will not touch the original hard disk. It is frozen here. Okay, this is the first, in the first scenario, let us say you have written EFGH and your operating system gets corrupted. So what will you do? You will restore to the original hard disk. This will be deleted. EFGH will be deleted with this hard disk. It is not available now because it is corrupted and we have restored to the original original hard disk, you can say. This is the first scenario that your operating system is corrupted. Let us say in the second scenario, your operating system is working fine. Okay, you have written the new data in the new hard disk, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, everything is working fine and you are satisfied, okay, with this new data or new application. Now, what do you want to do? You want to go with this new data only. So what will you do? You will delete the new hard disk. So when you delete this new hard disk, it is not deleted right away. Before getting deleted, what it will do, it will save the new information to the old hard disk. Then this new hard disk gets deleted. Getting the point? Whatever you are doing after taking the snapshot, it will be saved in the new hard disk. It will not be saved in the older. So let us see the lab how to take the snapshot. Let us say we want to take the snapshot of this Windows Server 1. We will right click here and we'll go to snapshot and we'll select the first option. It is having multiple options. Okay, it is having multiple options like take a snapshot, manage a snapshot, revert to latest snapshot. So we'll select the first option, take a snapshot, and it will provide the name by default like snapshot with year and time. If you want, you can provide the name, your name as well. Okay, so we'll go with the default name. Then we'll click OK. It will start taking the snapshot of this virtual machine, Windows Server 1. Alright guys, so we have taken the snapshot. Let us verify the snapshots here. We'll go to snapshot, then you will select this manage snapshots option. So you will get all the snapshots of this virtual machine like app A, app 1, app 2, etc. So it is having two snapshots. Okay, you can select and you can revert back to that state. Okay, so this is the current snapshot and it is having one more snapshot. So whatever the snapshot you want to revert to, you will select this that snapshot and you will select this revert to option. It will take you back to that state. If you want, you can delete the snapshot. Okay, let us say you are satisfied with this snapshot. You will delete it and it will save the data to the original hard disk and this snapshot will be deleted. Okay, so this is how you can revert back to the original snapshot or whatever the snapshot you want. and you can select this option as well, revert to latest snapshot. So whatever the latest snapshot is there, it will take you to there. But you don't want to revert to the latest snapshot, you want to go to the other snapshot. So you will select the manage option. It's taking some time here. Anyhow, you get my point. Okay, we can take the snapshot and we can revert back to the snapshot. We can delete it. Okay, you can use this option here. And guys, once you are okay with the latest snapshot, you should monitor for 24 hours and you should delete the snapshot here. If you keep the snapshot for a longer time, it will give you the error in your environment. So it is not a best practice to keep the snapshot in your environment. If you are okay with the snapshot, if you are okay with your configuration, okay, delete the snapshot. Otherwise, you will get the errors in your network. So it was about a snapshot. Let us see the virtual machine settings. So we have created multiple virtual machines from day one, and we have seen virtual machine is having multiple settings. Okay, CPU, cores per socket, CPU hot plug, reservation, limit, share, CPU ID mask, hardware virtualization, performance counter, IO MMU. It is having multiple options. Okay, we'll discuss about these options one by one. First, let me take you to any virtual machine and I will show you the settings first. So we'll go to this virtual machine, right click. Okay, then we'll select this edit setting option. And this edit setting option is having multiple settings. It is having CPU option. Okay, when you click CPU, under CPU you have cores per socket, hot CPU, reservation. Then it is having memory option. Memory option means RAM option. Then it is having hard disk option. Then SCSI controller, network adapter, CD DVD, USB controller, video card. Okay, it is having multiple options. So we'll discuss about these options one by one. So let us discuss about these CPU options. Cores per socket, CPU hot plug, reservation, limit, shares, CPU ID, hardware virtualization, performance counter, and IO MMU. Okay, CPU, this first option, and it is 2, which means we have this virtual machine is having 2 CPUs and socket per CPU. Socket per CPU means how many sockets you want. In our example, we have selected 2 CPUs. Okay, so guys, socket means the CPUs are, you will take one socket. Okay, I'm talking about the physical socket, and you will install 2 CPUs in this socket. Okay, so virtual machine is also having virtual socket. So how many sockets you want and how many CPUs want? So you have written you need one socket and 2 CPUs. So it will take one socket and it will install 2 CPUs on this one socket. If you write 4 CPUs, you need 4 CPUs and you need 2 CPUs per socket. So it will take 2 CPUs, 2 sockets, and it will install two CPUs on each socket. Okay, we have written only one socket, two CPUs. So it has taken one socket and two CPUs. If you write two here and two sockets, two CPUs, so it will install two sockets. If you write only one here, so it will take four sockets and it will install one CPU in one socket. This is the meaning. Okay, and it is having this option CPU hot plug. What this CPU hot plug will do, let us say this is a virtual machine and you want to increase the CPUs. So guys, in normal scenario, if you want to change the hardware, you need to shut down the virtual machine first. Then you will add the CPU. But if you select this option, enable CPU hot add. So without shutting down the virtual machine, you can add the CPUs. Okay, this is the meaning of CPU hot plug. If you see here, so change CPU hot plug setting. By default, you cannot add CPU resources to a virtual machine when the machine is turned on. The CPU hot plug option lets you add CPU resources to a running virtual machine. Okay, so what are the prerequisites for this change CPU hot plug settings? So required privileges like virtual machine configuration setting, you will go to virtual machine configuration setting and you will see that you have installed the latest virtual machine tools. And guest operating system also should support hot plug. Okay, guest operating system is you have created one virtual machine and you have installed Windows Server operating system. So you should make sure that it supports the hot plug or not. Virtual machine compatibility. So you should have the compatibility of ESXi 4.x or later. And virtual machine is turned off. So guys, what is this hot plug setting? You can add the CPU resources on a powered on virtual machine, right? But when you enable this setting, the virtual machine should be turned off. Got the point? Clear guys, still here? Any confusion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So what is this change CPU hot plug settings?
On a hot plug setting, we can do on running. We can do hardware changes on the running machine.
Not hardware changes, only CPU.
Only CPU we can change on the running.
Okay, if you
machine.
see here, this option is available under CPU, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and this option is disabled here. Why it is disabled? What is the condition? The virtual machine should be powered off, correct?
Yes.
So this virtual machine is powered on. That is why that option is disabled. Let us see this option. This virtual machine is powered off. Right click. Then we'll click edit settings option. Very good. Then we'll go to CPU. Under CPU, if you see here, this option is enable. We can enable this option now because the virtual machine is powered off. Okay. So when you enable this option, after powering on this virtual machine, you can add the CPU resources. Okay, while the virtual machine is powered on.
Got it.
Then we have reservation option. If you go to this virtual machine, if you go to CPU, under CPU, it is having reservation option. If you select 5 megahertz or 5 gigahertz CPU, so this much CPU will be reserved for this virtual machine. It will not be allocated to any other virtual machine. Okay. So to reserve the CPU for this virtual machine, this option is reserved. This option is used. So a reservation specifies the guaranteed minimum allocation for a virtual machine. For example, assume you have 2 gigahertz available and specify a reservation of 1 gigahertz for VM1 and 1 gigahertz for VM2. Now each virtual machine is guaranteed 1 gigahertz if it's needed. So here is my pen. So let us say you have two virtual machines. VM1, VM2, and you have 2 gigahertz CPU available. So you can reserve 1 gigahertz for VM1, 1 gigahertz for VM2. If VM1 is using only 500 megahertz, so let us say this VM1 is using only half of it, this 1 gigahertz. Okay, let us say it is using 500 megahertz. So this VM2 can utilize the remaining 500 gigahertz of this virtual machine one. So if VM1 is using 500 megahertz even after the reservation of 1 gigahertz, VM2 can use 1.5 gigahertz. Clear guys?
Yes.
What is the point here?
Suppose one machine have reserved some CPU memory. If it is using less than that, then remaining memory will allocate it to the other
Other, very good.
virtual machine.
Not memory, it is CPU. Okay, processing you can say. Okay, but let us say your requirement is like even this virtual machine is not utilizing the complete 1 gigahertz of processing. You don't want to share it with the other virtual machine, so you will use the limit option. If you want VM1 should use 1 gigahertz, even VM2 is utilizing 500 megahertz, you should set the limit to 1 gigahertz. So it is having a limit option. If you see here, okay, what is the limit option here? Unlimited, right?
Unlimited.
So you will give,
Unlimited.
so let us say you are providing 1 gigahertz, and here also you will provide 1 gigahertz.
Gigahertz.
So what it will do, it will not provide
Share
the
the
unused, yeah, very good. It will not share the unused processing with the other virtual machine. Is it clear?
yes.
Then it is having shares option. By default,
It's not.
it is selected as normal, but it is having low share, so it will get 1000 shares. Normal means it will get 2000 shares. High means it will get 4000 shares. Custom means you can edit the settings. Okay, so these are the shares of CPU. So share can be relative priority when there is a resource contention. The hypervisor automatically sets them to each virtual machine. So these shares are automatically selected by the hypervisor. Shares maintain the default ratio 4 is to 2 is to 1. 4 means high, 2 means normal, low means 1. Okay. So like let us say the CPU is having 1000 points. Okay. So 4% of these 1000 points will be given to high. If you select, it will get 4% points. If you select 2, it will get 2% points. If you select 1, it will get 1% point out of this 1000. Okay, so it will get the resources based on shares, and all virtual machines have normal shares by default to ensure the equality. But let us say you want to give higher share to any virtual machine, you can select high. Okay, so it will get 4000 shares. And we have CPU ID mask here. Let us try to understand what is this CPU ID mask. So guys, this CPU, if you select this CPU ID mask, you will get export NXXD flag to guest, hide NXXD from guest. Okay, so we are having two options: hide and expose the flag to the guest means operating system, to the operating system. So AMD is having no execute technology. Intel is having XD technologies used in CPUs to mark certain areas of memory as non-executable. So we are having CPUs. Okay, if you use these technologies, what these technologies will do, it will save some space to mark as non-executable. So in order to prevent malicious software exploit buffer overflow attack. So it is used to avoid any kind of attacks. So these technologies are turned on. If you select these technologies turned on, so they will be exposed to the operating system by default for all the guest operating systems. So these technologies are exposed to the operating system by default. So in order to increase vMotion compatibility. So guys, when we do the vMotion, so what the vMotion will do, it will move the live virtual machine from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. So if this feature is turned on, so you may face some issues during vMotion. Okay, if you want to make the process smooth, what you will do, you will turn off this feature here. So in order to increase the vMotion capability between hosts, you can mask hide option. So once you select the hide option, you can perform the vMotion easily without any error. Got the point? Clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then we have this option, hardware virtualization. Okay, if you go to the virtual machine settings, CPU, and it is having this option, hardware virtualization. Okay, so guys, let me draw one scenario here. You have taken one server, physical server. Then on the top of this physical server, you have installed ESXi, correct? ESXi, or it is the hypervisor. And on the top of this ESXi, on the top of this hypervisor, you will create the virtual machines. Then you will install the operating system. Okay, these are the operating system. Okay, and this ESXi host, it will provide the hardware to this operating system, to these virtual machines or not? Who is providing the hardware to these virtual machines? Who is providing the hardware to these virtual machines?
Sir, yeah.
ESXi hypervisor, correct?
Yes.
Which means this operating system, they cannot interact with the hardware like RAM, CPU, hard disk, etc. Correct? In between
Yes.
the operating system and the hardware, we have this ESXi, correct?
Yes.
So this operating system will interact with ESXi. They will not interact with the CPU directly. But in some cases, the application required to interact directly with the hardware. It doesn't require anyone in between them. In this case, what will you do? You will enable this option. Limit share hardware virtualization option. When you select this option, it exposes the hardware to the guest operating system. Guest operating system can directly interact with the CPU. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
So if you observe here, this is the hardware. In between the hardware and operating system, we have the ESXi, we have the hypervisor. So when you select that option, the operating system is interacting directly with the CPU. So you can expose full CPU virtualization to the guest operating system so that the application require hardware virtualization can run on the virtual machine without any binary translation. This option allows some application to talk hardware CPU directly. Let us see the prerequisites for this option. Verify the virtual machine compatibility is ESXi 5.1. So minimum you should have ESXi compatibility 5.1. And you should have these operating systems. So if you are using Intel, it should be Intel Nehalem generation. Okay, and if you are using AMD, it should be generation 3. And verify Intel VTX or AMD V. So you should have the processor that supports virtualization. If it is Intel, it should be VTX. If it is AMD, it should be AMD V. And is enabled so that the hardware, so it should be enabled in the BIOS. Okay, virtualization should be enabled at BIOS level as well. Then we have C performance counter. Okay, this option. Performance counter. Let us see what is the use of this performance counter. It will allow you to monitor the CPU performance. If you want to monitor the CPU performance, you will use this performance counter. Okay, you can directly identify the CPU related problems and improve its performance. So it is used for monitoring the CPU. Okay, and if you have any issues, you can monitor them. Then we have IOMMU. This option IOMMU we can enable. If you check, it will be enabled. If you uncheck, it will be disabled. So this IOMMU feature can allow virtual machines to have directly access to the hardware input output device such as network card, storage controller and GPU. So if you want to provide the direct access to the operating system to these devices, the network card, storage controller, GPU, etc., then you will select this IOMMU. MMU means memory management unit. Then guys, we have hard disk option. Okay, the CPU option, it is completed. Then we have memory, right? So memory we will see. Then we have hard disk option. Let us see the memory option. Okay, so again, if you see memory 4 means this virtual machine is having 4 GB memory. You can increase or decrease the memory size. And reservation means you can reserve the memory for this virtual machine in MB and GB. Okay, and you can it is like the CPU. Okay, if you have 8 GB RAM and you have two virtual machines, VM1 and VM2, you can assign 4 GB RAM to VM1, 4 GB RAM to VM2. If VM1 is using only 2 GB RAM, so VM2 can use 6 GB RAM. Okay, but you want to limit, okay, you don't want the VM2 or VM1 should share the memory, so you can limit it to 4 GB only. Even though if it is using 1 GB, 3 GB will not be shared with the virtual machine. So you can select the limit here. Okay, if you are assigning 4 GB, so you will give 4 GB here. It will not be shared with the other virtual machines. So again, the shades are there. And memory hot plug. Anyone, what is the use of this memory hot plug?
Sir, this should be enabled in the when machine is disabled, and during the running mode we can increase the memory.
Beautiful. Very good. Memory hot plug means by default we cannot increase or decrease the memory of running virtual machines. Let me show you. This virtual machine is running. Okay. Let us see the settings of this virtual machine. And if you go to memory, and here you can see we cannot increase or decrease the memory size. So when you enable memory hot plug, you can increase or decrease the size of running virtual machine. Okay, so this is the meaning of this memory hot plug. Then we have hard disk option. Okay, again we can increase or decrease the hard disk size, and maximum size is available is 94.7 GB, and VM storage policy. Okay, so VM encryption, vSAN. So if you have vSAN, you will select vSAN, and type. This is important point. So we have thin provision, thick provision. Remember that point. Anyone, what is the use of this thick provision and thin provision?
Sir, thin provision means suppose that we have allocated 100 GB, then it will not allocate 100 GB at once. When it is required, it will allocate it.
Very good, beautiful. Others, what is thick provision? What is thick provision? Thin provision means it will commit that it will provide this much hard disk. Let us say we have selected 40 GB hard disk. We have selected 40 GB hard disk, and we have selected the type thin provision. So what this thin provision will do, it will commit this virtual machine that it will provide 40 GB, but it will not allocate 40 GB right away. Okay, so let us say right now this virtual machine required only 2 GB, so it will allocate only 2 GB. In future it required more 2 GB, then it will allocate more 2 GB. So maximum it will allocate 50 GB. This is the meaning of thin provision. Then we have one more option called thick provision. What this thick provision will do? What this thick provision will? Others, you guys are available.
Allocate memory at once.
Very good. It will allocate the right memory right away. You guys are available. Others, only I am hearing Rajiv.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what is thick provision and thin provision?
Thin provision will allocate the memory, but it won't use all of it together, and the thick will allocate all and use it all.
Pardon. One more time, Ahmed.
The thin one will provide the memory, and it won't use all of it at the same time.
Very good. Very good. Thick means it will allocate the not memory, hard disk. Okay. Memory means RAM.
Yeah, hard disk, I mean.
Okay. So it will provide 40 GB hard disk. Thick means it will provide the 40 GB hard disk right away. Clear, guys? Now, let us understand this provisioning in more detail. So in the disk provisioning, if you select this option, disk provisioning, it is having thick provision and thin provision. Under thick provision, it is having two more options. Thick provision, lazy zeroed, thick provision, eager zeroed. Okay, so we have already discussed what is this thin provision. Whenever it required the storage, it will provide the hard disk. Okay, now let us try to understand the difference between thick provision, lazy zeroed, and thick provision, eager zeroed. provision. Anyhow, so guys, let us try to understand thick provision, lazy zeroed, and eagerly zeroed. So it is having a term called zeroed, correct? Let us try to understand what does it mean by zeroed. So when the virtual disk is created, it is having some junk data. If you see, whenever you assign a virtual hard disk to a virtual machine, that hard disk is not empty. It is not completely empty. It is having some data. That data is just junk data. Okay. So to save our data, if you want to save the data, this junk data should be deleted. Then only we can save our data. So when old data is deleted, it will be replaced with zeros like this. Okay, so let us say you want to save one line of data. So what zeroed will be do? It will delete the junk from the first line and it will add zeros. Zeros means we can add our new data in this first line. It is ready to save our data. This is the meaning of zeroed here. Okay. So sometimes we delete only one line. Sometimes we delete the complete junk data and we will this zero will be zeros will be there in the complete hard disk. Okay, so sometimes we delete complete data, that is we write complete zeros. Once zeros are in place, we can start writing the data from the virtual machine into the disk. Okay, this is the meaning of zeroed. We are discussing about the zeroed. What is zeroed here? So you can see we have written some data like the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So it is saving our data now. Now what we will do, we will see the thick provision eagerly zeroed. We have seen the meaning of zeroed. Zeroed means it will delete the junk data and it will add zeros to write the data. Now we will see thick provision eagerly zeroed. So it creates a virtual disk and dedicate the space which we have configured. So it will take the virtual disk and it will delete the data, junk data from the complete hard disk and it will add zeros in your complete hard disk. Okay. So which we have configured and complete data on the physical device is zeroed and virtual disk is created. So it might take much longer to create this disk in this format. So guys, it is deleting the junk data from complete hard disk. Then it is adding the zeros. So it will take a lot of time. It is a time consuming method here. Let us see what is the meaning of lazy zeroed. What this lazy zeroed will do, it creates a virtual disk and dedicate the space to the virtual machine which we have configured, and data on the physical devices is erased. The data will not be erased completely. Okay, but it will zero on the first write from the virtual machine. So what it will do, it will start deleting the junk data from the first write after creating the virtual machine. This is the difference between lazy zeroed and eagerly zeroed. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. So if you have enough space, you can go with thick provision. If you don't have enough space, you can go with thin provision. Now, guys, we have sharing option under hard disk. Okay, if you see this, sharing option. Okay, it is having no sharing and multi-writer option. Let us see what is this no sharing. If you select no sharing option, it will not share the hard disk with any virtual machine. Multi-writer means it will share the hard disk with other virtual machines. Then it is having disk file option. It shows the disk file location. Okay, it will show you the disk file location. Where is your hard disk located? Okay, the virtual hard disk. You will get the location here. Then guys, we have shares option. Okay, so we have this shares option. Where is this? Yeah, shares option. Again, low, normal, high, and custom. So if you select no, 500 shares will be allocated to this virtual machine. Normal means 1000 shares. High means 2000 shares. Custom means you can change the shares manually. Okay. So if you see here, low means 500 shares. Normal means 1000 shares. High means 2000 shares, and custom means you can change the shares, number of shares here. Then we have limit IOPS, input output operations per second. So it is having unlimited and custom. If you have 4 disks, each disk is assigned 100 IOPS. Okay, you have 4 disks. Disk 1, disk 2, disk 3, and disk 4, and each disk is assigned 100 IOPS. Okay, IOPS means input output operations per second. So hard disk is dealing with the IOPS here. Like CPU deals with the processing, RAM is dealing with the, what do you say, the GPs. The hard disk, it will deal with the IOPS here. So let us say you have assigned 100 IOPS to each hard disk. So total it will be 400 IOPS. Okay, so data store is 400 IOPS. If disk 1, 2, and 3 is using or issuing only 10 IOPS. Okay, and which means 10 means total 30 here. Disk 1, 2, and 3, they are utilizing 30 IOPS, and the 370 IOPS without being restricted. Okay, it can be used by 4. Okay, this 4 it will use 370 IOPS. So it is using the unutilized IOPS from disk 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we can assign 100 IOPS. Hard disk will use 100. So if you see here, if you select this option, limit custom, and if you select 100 here, so it will restrict all the virtual machines to use only 100 IOPS. It will not take, or it will not provide its IOPS to the other hard disk. Clear the point? Is it clear, guys? Any doubt?
It's clear, sir.
Then we have one virtual flash read cache option. So read cache can accelerate the virtual machine performance. So we use the cache to increase the performance. Okay, it will make the processing very faster. So you can reserve the flash memory. It is kind of memory, right? Okay, cache is the kind of memory. It is used to faster the process. Okay, so we can reserve the cache, read cache, or memory for individual virtual disk. The flash read cache is created only when the virtual machine is powered on. So you can create this flash read cache only the virtual machine is powered on. Okay, and it is discarded when a virtual machine is suspended or powered off. So when you power off the virtual machine, you cannot do anything with this cache option. So we can reserve the cache in MBs and GBs. Okay, so if you go to the settings, we go to hard disk, then cache. We can change this flash cache or reserve this flash cache in MB and GB. Okay. And it is a what thick. We have already discussed thin provision and thick provision. Then guys, it is having disk mode, dependent, independent, persistent, independent, non-persistent. So this option is related to snapshot. Dependent disk mode means dependent is VMware default disk mode. So this is the default mode, which means when you take the snapshot of virtual machine, all the disks are included in the snapshot. All the disk will be included in the snapshot. When you revert back to the previous snapshot, all data will be revert back to the point. So if you have taken multiple snapshots, when you go back to the previous snapshot, all the snapshot will be reverted. Independent persistent mode. Changes are immediately and permanently returned to the disk. Independent non-persistent means changes to the disk are discarded when you power off or restore the. So guys, this option, independent persistent mode. If you select this option and you revert back to any snapshot, so these changes are saved permanently from the snapshot virtual disk. But if you select this independent non-persistent option, changes to the disk are discarded. So when you select this option and when you restart the virtual machine, the changes will not be saved permanently. This is the difference between persistent mode and non-persistent mode. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Then this option is having about SCSI controller. Like we have different hard disk type IDE1, ID1 SCSI. So you can select the type of hard disk here. So generally we don't touch this option. Okay, this option is selected by the ESXi. When it is selected, when we provide the input like which operating system you are going to install. So based on that, it will select the virtual device node. Okay, the hard disk type you can say. SCSI controller ID1, SCSI controller 0, SATA 0. We have multiple hard disk types, but it is selected by ESXi host. We should not change it. Clear, guys? So let us log on to vCenter server. Okay, so if you right click on any virtual machine, you will get multiple settings. So let us right click on this Windows Server 1 clone. It is taking some time. All right. Then we'll click this edit setting option. Under this edit setting option, you will see multiple options here like CPU. We have discussed what is this CPU. Okay, cores, HPU, hot plug, etc. Then we have discussed about memory, hard disk, and we have in the SCSI controller. So it is selected by the ESXi host at the time of installation. Then the network adapter. What is the status of network adapter? Whether it is connected or means we are saying that connect at power on. So when we power on the virtual machine, the network adapter should be connected. If we uncheck this option, what will happen? Even the virtual machine is powered on, the network adapter, the NIC will not be connected. Okay, and what is the adapter type? You can see the adapter type here. So again, ESXi has selected the adapter type. So as I told you while creating the virtual machine, it will ask you which operating system you are going to install on this virtual machine. Based on that, it will provide you all the hardwares. Okay, so it has selected this adapter and this is the MAC address. Okay, it is selected automatically, and if you want, you can apply, you can provide the manual MAC address as well to this virtual machine or to this network adapter. Network adapters are having MAC addresses. Okay, so we have two options. Automatic means the ESXi host will provide the MAC address to this virtual machine. The ESXi will provide the MAC address, or you can set the MAC address manually. Then we have CD DVD option. So again, if it is checked, which means it will connect to the virtual machine. The CD DVD drive, it will be connected to the virtual machine. If you uncheck, it will be disconnected. You need to again check it manually. And here, okay, we have selected the media. Okay, whatever the media, you can, if you want to give the ISO path, you can give the ISO path here. And what is the device mode? CD-ROM and virtual node SATA. Okay, again, it is selected by the ESXi, the hypervisor. And USB controller, USB 2, it is selected by default. If you want to add the USB, if you want to change the USB, okay, you can have this option here, add new device. So you can add multiple devices. If you want to add CD, DVD, host USB, hard disk, RDM disk, existing hard disk. So we have so many options here. Okay, you can use this option to add the devices, you can say. Add a new device to your virtual machine. So let us say we want to add USB controller. If you select this option, it has selected USB 3 here. Okay, it is having 2.0 by default, and we can add 3 as well. So let us remove it. Okay, we are not going to change anything here. And you have the video card. So guys, the physical devices are having the video card. The same way, the virtual machine is also having the video card. So it is having the video card setting here, like number of displays, total video memory. Again, it is selected by the ESXi or hypervisor when we create the virtual machine. Okay, then video card, and we have some other settings as well. Okay, like controllers, we have PCI controller ID0, ID1. It is having these many adapters. SCSI software, SCSI adapter. Input devices, it is having keyboard and pointing device. So this is the information here. And if you go to edit settings, we have two options here. If you see on the top, we have virtual hardware. So this setting is about adding or seeing the virtual hardware of your virtual machine. And we have one more option called VM options. So under this VM option, we have general options, VMware, remote console options, encryption, power management, VMware tool, boot options, advanced option, fiber channel, NPIV options. So let us see the general option first. In this general option, you will get the virtual machine name. Also, if you want to check the virtual machine name, you can come here. You will go to VM options. and you will get the virtual machine name. Windows Server 1 clone, and virtual machine configuration file, it is saved here. And virtual machine working location, this is the location of virtual machine. And what is the guest operating system? Windows. Okay, so if it is Linux, you will get Linux here. So you will get the information about virtual machine. Okay, if you are not sure which operating system is installed, so you can directly go to the virtual machine and you can check these options. Okay, if you see, it is having Windows operating system. Okay, and you can change it. And the guest operating system, which operating system you have installed from Windows family, you have installed Microsoft Server 2012, and it is a 64-bit operating system. And if you want to change, you can change it as well. So based on the changes, it will provide the hardware. Okay, and we have this VMware remote console option. The first option is guest operating system lock. What is the meaning of this option? Let us try to understand. So when you check this option, lock the guest operating system when the remote user disconnects. So guys, let us say on this virtual machine we have installed Windows Server 2012. Okay, this operating system we have installed, and someone is accessing this operating system or virtual machine remotely, and he has disconnected. Okay, so we have two options here from your computer. Either you will disconnect it, but the session will be open, or you can lock the operating system from this PC as well. Let us say this guy has disconnected the connectivity here. He has not locked the operating system. So we have the option here. Okay. So if you check this option, if the user has disconnected, okay, lock the guest operating system when the last remote user disconnects. So when the user disconnects, it will lock the operating system automatically. And maximum number of sessions, it is 40, which means you can allow 40 connections to access this operating system remotely. Okay, it will allow 40 sessions here. So you can increase or decrease the sessions if you want. And then we have this encryption option. So guys, encrypt VM means it will encrypt the virtual machine. So we need to create the policy to encrypt this virtual machine. So it is saying that no encryption policy is available. So it will not be encrypted. And under this encryption, we have okay two options here: encrypt VM and encrypted vMotion. So what does it mean by encrypted vMotion? Let us say you are migrating VM1 from ESXi1 to ESXi2. So this migration should be encrypted or not. This is the option about this encrypting the vMotion traffic. Guys, just give me 2 minutes. All right, guys. So this encryption option is about encrypting the virtual machine and encrypting the vMotion traffic. So what does it mean by encrypting the vMotion traffic? As we have discussed, if you have two ESXi hosts, ESXi1 and ESXi2, and we have VM1 on ESXi1, and you want to migrate this virtual machine, okay, so the traffic will be encrypted, or it will be, the traffic will be sent encrypted or in clear text. So we have the option here, okay. So by default, the option is opportunistic. What is the meaning of this opportunistic? Let us try to understand. Okay, let us say this ESXi1 and ESXi2, both of them are supporting encryption. So both of them are supporting encryption, so it will encrypt the vMotion traffic. Let us say ESXi1 and ESXi2, both of them are not supporting encryption. So what this opportunistic option will do, it will send the vMotion traffic in clear text. But it will send, okay, if it is supporting encryption, so the traffic will be encrypted. If it is not supporting encryption, it will send the traffic in clear text. But our requirement is that the traffic should be sent in encryption format, okay. If ESXi1 and ESXi2, both of them are supporting encryption, then only send the traffic. If they are not supporting the encryption, don't send the traffic. In this case, what will you do? You will select required option. Required means if ESXi1 and ESXi2 supports encryption, then only the vMotion will be done. The migration will be done, you can say. If they are not supporting, the migration will not be done. And if you want to disable this option, you can disable it. So it will send the traffic, okay, whether it is encrypted or decrypted. Oh, sorry, it will send the traffic only in clear text. Clear, guys? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Now we are having this power management option. So under this power management option, we have standby response, wake on LAN option. Okay, under this standby response, we have two options: suspend the virtual machine or put the guest operating system into standby mode and leave the virtual machine powered on. So guys, we have virtual machine. Okay, I'm talking about virtual machine here. On the top of this virtual machine, we install the operating system. Let us say we put, so we have multiple options, like we can shut down the virtual machine, we can restart the virtual machine, and we can put this virtual machine on standby mode. Okay, so what action should it take when we put this this operating system in standby mode? Okay, so what should the virtual machine respond when the guest operating system is placed on standby mode? So the first option is suspend the virtual machine. So if this guest operating system is in standby mode, this virtual machine will be suspended. It will not be powered on. Okay, it will be suspended. Or the second option, put the guest operating system into standby mode and leave the virtual machine powered on. So if you select this option, this operating system will be in standby mode and the virtual machine will be powered on. Clear? What is this power management here? Standby response. Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Then we have wake on LAN option. Okay. So wake and LAN or WOL, it is a protocol which is used to power on the virtual machine remotely. If you are not available in front of the ESXi host. Okay, so you can power on this virtual machine remotely. So wake on LAN virtual machine traffic on. Okay, so you need to select the network adapter one. Okay, whatever the network adapter. So using this network adapter, you can power on the virtual machine. Then we have VMware tools option. If you remember, guys, we have VMware tools option. What is the use of VMware tool? Guys, what is
Sir,
the
VMware tool we can run machine smoothly so that it can operate.
very good VMware tool? They are the drivers, correct? Of your
Yes.
virtual machine, they are the driver of operating system. So we have some VMware tools options. Under this VMware tools, we have power operations, tool upgrades, time, run virtual machine tools script. Okay, so under the power management, we have power on, shutdown, suspend, and restart option. So under this, power on means you can power on the virtual machine. Under the shutdown option, okay, what we will do, you have two options here. Power off, if you select the shutdown option, this option, okay, either it will power off the virtual machine or you can select shut down the guest operating system. Okay, and if we have this pause option, suspend option. If you select this option, what it should do, it should suspend the virtual machine or it should suspend the operating system. Then we have restart option. So we have two options, restart the virtual machine or restart the guest operating system. Okay, we can select the options here. Then tools upgrades, if you check this option, it will check for the VMware tools upgrade. Okay, and time synchronization, so it will check the guest operating system. Okay, so synchronize the guest time with the host. If you select this option, so guest operating system or Windows operating system, you can say it required time, right? So if you check this option, it will take the time from ESXi host. Okay, clear, guys? Any doubt till here?
No, sir.
Okay, so
No.
this, it will run some scripts. Okay, ESXi run some script. So you will check the options. Okay, when to run those scripts after the power on, after the resuming, before suspending, before shutting down. So all the options are checked by default. So you should not check it. You should not touch these options. Okay.
What type of script is written in that, sir?
Tools script is there. Okay. When to run the tools. Okay. We have tools, right? So when to run those tools after powering on the virtual machine. Okay. After resuming, before suspending. So we run the tools script. Okay. In all the four options here. Clear?
Yes.
Then we have boot option. Okay, so let us see what is this boot options here. So under this boot option, we have firmware. So if you select this firmware option, it is having BIOS or EFI. It is recommended. BIOS is recommended. We'll see. Okay. Then boot delay. It is having force BIOS setup, failed boot recovery. Let us see what are these option about. Okay. So if you see, it is having this firmware. Okay. Under this firmware, BIOS or EFI. So which firmware it should use? So let us go back to the slide. So the firmware used to boot the virtual machine. Okay, two options are available: BIOS and EFI. If the guest operating system supports both, you can select the option that will be used here. So okay, if the guest operating, you need to check the guest operating system. If it is supporting BIOS, you should select BIOS. If it is supporting EFI, you should select EFI. Okay, if it is supporting both, you can select either one. And we have the other options like boot delay, force BIOS or EFI setup, then failed boot recovery. What is this boot delay? It specifies the delay between the time a virtual machine is powered on and the guest operating system to boot up. So guys, we have two parts here. One is virtual machine. Okay, then we have the operating system. So to work this operating system, this virtual machine need to be powered on. Okay. So when we power on the virtual machine, after powering on, how much time it will wait to boot this operating system? This is the delay here. So it specifies the delay between the time a virtual machine is powered on and guest operating system start to boot. Clear? Clear this point or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So you can specify the time here. Okay, how much time it should take to power on the virtual machine after powering on the virtual machine. So it is having 0 milliseconds by default. As soon as the virtual machine is powered on, the operating system will start booting up. You can enter the delay. Okay, so better not to touch it. And we have force BIOS setup and failed boot recovery. Force BIOS or EFI forces the virtual machine to go to the BIOS. Okay, if you select this option, it will force the virtual machine directly go to BIOS. Okay, and failed boot recovery means when turned on, this option forces the virtual machine to retry booting after 10 seconds. It is by default. Okay, if virtual machine fails to find a boot device, okay, so it will keep trying to restart after every 10 seconds if select this option, if there is any boot recovery failure in your virtual machine. Guys, is it clear till here? Any doubt, any confusion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. Then we have advanced options. Under this advanced options, we have settings. Under settings, we have disabled acceleration and enable logging. Then we have debugging and statistics option, swap file location. Then we have configuration parameter option. Okay. Then we have latency sensitivity option. Okay, let us discuss about these options one by one. So first we'll see what is this settings option: disable acceleration and enable logging. So disable virtual machine acceleration. So when you install or run a software in virtual machine, the virtual machine appears to stop responding. Sometimes what happens, you install any software, okay, so virtual machine stops responding. So the problem occurs early when you run the application. You can resolve this issue by temporarily disabling the acceleration in the virtual machine. So guys, if the virtual machine is not responding, It is like a troubleshooting. Okay. So you have taken one virtual machine and you have installed any application, and this virtual machine is not responding. In this case, what will you do? You will go to virtual machine acceleration option and you will disable it temporarily. Then it will fix the problem. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
What we are doing here? What is this option used for? Anyone? Guys, what is this option used for? Disable virtual machine acceleration. Okay, let me explain it one more time. Do you see VM option? What is this?
Yes, sir.
VM
VM
option, right?
option.
Under this VM option, we have advanced option.
Mhm.
Under this advanced option, we have settings option, correct?
Mhm.
Under this settings option, we have two options here: disable acceleration, enable logging. What is the use of this disable acceleration option? Okay, when you install any application on this virtual, let us say you have installed Oracle on this virtual machine, and this virtual machine is not responding after you install this application. In this case, what will you do? You will go to virtual machine option, advanced settings, then you will select this option, disable acceleration. Then this virtual machine will start responding. Is it clear or not? It is very simple, guys.
Sir, why that machine was not unable to log in?
Because, pardon,
Why that machine was unable to log in?
logging, it was not responding. Okay, we
Why it
have
was not responding means that only.
acceleration. Okay, the acceleration was enabled. Okay, so we need to
Okay.
disable the acceleration, then it will start working together, then you can again enable the acceleration. Got the point?
Yes, got it.
Others?
Yes, sir.
Ringle? Any doubt? All right. So this is about the disable acceleration option. Then we have enable logging option. Let us try to understand what is this enable logging option. So enable virtual machine logging, you can enable logging to collect the log files. If you select this option, you will get the log files and it will help you to troubleshoot the problems with your virtual machine. Let us say your virtual machine is having some issues and you want to fix it. So to fix the issues, generally we see the logs or not.
Yes. What
Okay.
type of problem there was?
Yeah. So if you select this option, enable logging, you will get the log messages. If you do not select, you will not get the log messages. Got the point?
Yes.
Then we have debugging and statistics option. Under this debugging and statistics option, we have run normally, record debugging information and record statistics. Okay. So what it will do, it will debug with, what do you say? It will run normally. Okay. And if you select this debugging information, so you will get only the debugging information. If you select the record statistics, so you will get only the record statistics options. Okay, so configure virtual machine debugging and statistics. You can run the virtual machine and it collects the additional debugging information. So it was collecting the log files and it will collect the additional debugging information that is helpful. This information, okay, it will be helpful for the VMware technical support to resolving the issue. Let us say the issue is very big In this case, you will use this option and you will provide the information to the VMware team. Clear,
Yes, sir.
Ahmed?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Then we have debugging.
Swap file location.
Swap file location. Okay. So we have swap file location. In this swap file location, we have three options: default, virtual machine directory, data store is specified by host. So whatever the file, okay, if you select the default option, it will select the path which is selected by ESXi. Okay, let us try to understand what is this swap file location. So when a virtual machine is powered on, system creates a VM kernel swap file. Okay, whenever you enable or power on the virtual machine, a file is created. Which file is created?
VM kernel swap file.
VM kernel swap file to serve as a backing store for virtual machines RAM content. Okay, so it is like a backup, okay, to your RAM, and you accept the default. So whatever the location is selected by the virtual machine, you accept it. Okay, that if you select the default option, so you can accept the default swap file location or save the file to a different location. Okay, if you don't want to save the files on the default location, you want to change it, you can change it by selecting the option. Okay, in the VM virtual machine directory or data store is specified by host. So wherever you want, you can change the file location. Then we have configuration parameter option. So you can change or add the virtual machine configuration parameters when instructed by the technical support. Okay, so let us say you are having some issues and the technical support, okay, they want you to change the configuration parameters. So you can change it under the instruction of the support team, or if you have the idea, you can change the parameter. Okay, so again, do not touch this option, it is just for the information. Okay, if you change it, your virtual machine may not be working. Okay, so you should do it, or the team will do it. Okay, the support team, the VMware support team will do it. You don't need to do anything. Then guys, we have latency sensitive option. Latency sensitive. Okay, and it is having two options, normal and high. Guys, what is the meaning of latency? Any idea? Latency.
No, sir.
Ahmed, any idea about latency?
Not really, sir.
Latency means delay.
Oh, okay, I forgot.
Okay. Rajiv, what is the meaning of latency?
Delay.
Delay. So let us say we have
Two virtual machine.
two ESXi host, no ESXi host. Okay, ESXi1 and ESXi2. ESXi1 is having some virtual machines. Okay, and when you migrate the virtual machines using vMotion, it will take some time. Okay,
Yes.
it will take some time to migrate, right?
Yes.
So
Sir.
some applications, they are latency sensitive, which means they should be moved immediately, otherwise there will be a problem. Got the point?
Yes.
Latency sensitivity means some applications should be moved immediately, it should not take time, there should be no delay. Got the point? Okay.
Moving speed will be high.
Moving speed will be, if you select normal, it will be normal. Okay. It will be low. If you
Okay.
select high, what vMotion will do, it will give the priority to this virtual machine and it will move it faster. This is the
Okay.
meaning of latency delay.
Okay.
Then the last option is related to the fiber channel. Okay, let us try to understand what is the use of this last option. The last option is called as NPIV, N-port ID virtualization. What does it mean? NPIV provides the ability to share physical fiber channel. You have only one physical fiber channel, HBA port, and it will share one physical fiber channel port with multiple virtual ports. Okay, with unique identifier. So it is related to the fiber channel. Okay, and if you want to share one fiber channel HBA, physical fiber channel HBA with multiple virtual ports, then you will use this option. So you should have WWN information and all. Okay, you can see you will enter here and it will share with multiple virtual ports. Clear, guys? Let us see the host profile. VMware host profile is a template. Okay, let us say you have one ESXi host and you have done so many configuration like security configuration, networking configuration, so many configuration you have done on this ESXi one, and in your environment you have multiple ESXi hosts, hundreds of ESXi hosts. Okay, so these ESXi hosts are the part of same organization. So mostly you will use the same settings, right?
Yes.
So what will you do? Instead of configuring the other ESXi host, you will take the host profile. Okay, you will take the configuration. Host profile is nothing but the configuration of this ESXi host, correct?
Yes.
You will take it and you will apply the host profile to all your devices, all your ESXi hosts. This is about the host profile. Clear, Ahmed?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. So VMware host profile is a template used to extract the configuration from one VMware ESXi host and import the configuration to other ESXi hosts for standardizing the configuration in the data center. It is very simple. Okay. Let us see how to extract it. We will access the
VM Center.
vCenter server, then we'll go to menu. Under menu, we'll go to shortcuts. Under shortcuts, we have host profile option, correct? Okay. So we can extract the host profile from here. You'll select this option and it is saying you want to extract the configuration from which ESXi host. You need to select it. You want to extract the configuration from 140.10. Then we'll click next and ESXi1. Host profile configuration, you can name anything here. So it is creating the host profile.
Sir, when we will extract the host profile, then some application snapshot will be also there, or
No,
just the
configuration.
configuration?
ESXi host configuration.
Okay. Means VM kernel switches, how many switches is there, or what?
Yeah, security policies and so many things are there.
Security policies, all this all
Okay.
configuration will be
Yes.
there.
Very
Okay,
good.
completed.
Okay, you can see ESXi host profile is there, and when we select this option, you will get multiple options here. Extract the host profile. Okay, the same option. Import the host profile. So import means you already have the host profile and you want to apply that profile to this ESXi host. Got the point? What is this
Yes.
import host profile option?
We will create same machine.
You already have one host profile on your
Input
computer.
the configuration onto another EXI.
Okay, then you will import it and you will apply to the ESXi host, correct? And the third option is to duplicate this host profile. And the fourth option is to copy the settings. Okay, you will copy it and here first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Sixth option is to export. Export means it will create the file and it will save it on your computer. Okay, you can see it is exporting the profile or not.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and import means again you can apply this same settings. Let us say you want to apply these settings on ESXi2. So what will you do? You will select import option, choose file, and you will give the path, and you will apply the host profile ESXi1 host profile to any ESXi host. Let us say ESXi2. Clear, guys? Any doubt here? There are two types of switches we have in vSphere environment. Okay, there are two types of switches. One is standard switch, another one is distributed switch. We have already discussed about this standard switch. This standard switch is created whenever we install ESXi host. Okay, remember this one, standard switch.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so standard switch, vSphere standard switch is used to provide the network connectivity for host, virtual machine, and to handle the VM kernel traffic. This standard switch, okay, it is used to make the communication between virtual machines. It will handle the VM kernel traffic as well. And standard switch bridge the traffic internally between the virtual machines. So if you have seen, whenever we install the ESXi host, it will create the standard switch. Okay, when we create the virtual machine, this standard switch will connect them and it will make the communication between them. And this standard switch does not require any enterprise plus licensing. It is for free. Free in the sense, if you install ESXi host, you will get the standard switch. It doesn't require any additional licensing, and it is available on all the licenses. Even if you purchase, if you download the free version of ESXi, you will get this standard switch. So to manage this standard switch, you need to access each and every switch individually. In this example, if you see, we have ESXi1, ESXi2, ESXi3. And when you install the ESXi, it will create the standard switch. Let us say you want to create two port groups, production and test, on all the ESXi hosts. So you will access ESXi1 individually, then you will create production port group, then test port group. Then you will go to ESXi2, you will create production and test, then you will go to ESXi3, you will create the production port group and test port group. So here we have three ESXi hosts, we can manage them. But in real networks, you will have hundreds of ESXi hosts. And if you are dealing with the standard switches, you will have to access these standard switches individually, and then you need to do the configuration. Here we have taken the example of creating the port groups. So you need to do some configuration like security configuration, network configuration. So this ESXi host belong to the same net environment, so they will require the same configuration. Okay, most of the time they require the same configuration, so you will have to access again each and every switch individually, then you need to configure it. This is the drawback, you can say. So the limitation in one traffic shaping is not available as a part in standard switch. So guys, we have discussed we can make the changes for outbound traffic with the standard switch, but we can't make any changes for inbound traffic. And networking vMotion. So we have networking vMotion as well. We have seen normal vMotion, storage vMotion, and we have networking vMotion as well. With the standard switch, you can't perform network vMotion. And we need to create and manage the vSphere standard switches individually on each ESXi host. Let me show you. Okay, if you go to the ESXi host, you will get the standard switch. Okay, if you see standard switch, so these switches are available on individual host. You will not find this standard switch as data center level. At data center level, you will have another switch called distributed switch. Here you will not find the standard switch. Okay, this is the standard switch here. Okay, and right side you will be having the physical adapters, left side you will have the logical adapters. Okay, and we have management network, then we have VM network. Management network is nothing but your kernel port. Okay, using this kernel port you will manage the standard switch, and VM network, it will connect the multiple VLANs. If you see, this VM network is having multiple VLANs in the standard switch. So it is having so many drawbacks. So what is the solution? The solution is distributed switch. What is this distributed switch? Let us try to understand. vSphere distributed switch allows a single virtual switch. Okay, you have one single virtual switch, which is your distributed switch, to connect multiple ESXi hosts. So what you will do, we have already installed the vCenter server. In this vCenter server, you will create one distributed switch, and you will add all the ESXi hosts. From this distributed switch, you will manage all the, what do you say, the ESXi host centrally. If you want to create the policy, you will just create the policy only on merge switch. It will be applied to all the ESXi host. If you want to create any port group, you will create the port group on this distributed switch. It will be applied to all the ESXi host. Okay, if you have hundreds of ESXi hosts, you don't need to access them individually. You will just access the distributed switch and you will create the policies. Okay, you will create the port groups only once, and it will apply to all the ESXi hosts. Clear, guys? What is a distributed switch?
Yes, sir.
Distributed switch is a virtual switch.
What is the use?
It is used to connect the multiple VMware.
ESXi host. Okay, you
Yes,
will
yes,
create
yes.
one distributed switch, and or you can say from this distributed switch you can manage the standard switches centrally. Okay, I'm just giving the example. It is not exactly like this, but from this distributed switch you will manage the standard switches of all the ESXi hosts. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
So if you create any policy here, it will be applied to all the standard switches. Okay.
Sir, on the specific port also we can define any policy now. Suppose that on this port or the on distributed. So
Yeah,
there
as
is
I
no
told
policy.
you, centrally you can do it.
Okay.
Okay. So vSphere distributed switch allows a single virtual switch to connect multiple ESXi hosts. vSphere distributed switch created at data center level to handle the network configuration of multiple hosts. Okay, so where will you create this distributed switch? You are going to create the distributed switch at the data center level. Okay, you will create the distributed switch here at the data center level, not at the host level. If you right click here, you will not find any distributed switch option. Do you see any option here related to distributed switch?
No.
No, because we have clicked the individual host here. So distributed switch is not created at host level because standard switch is created at the host level, correct? So if you go to the data center level, you will see the distributed switch option. If you right click here, you will create it. Clear? So where this distributed switch is created? At what level?
On data center level.
At data center level. All right. So we see a distributed switch created at data center level, and it provides centralized management and monitoring of network configuration of all the ESXi. So as we have discussed from a central point, you can monitor the network configuration, or you can do the network configuration from a central point. And distributed switches are created at data center level. Okay, where are they created? Data center level. And distributed switch required vCenter server. Without vCenter server, you cannot create distributed switch. Alright guys, so we need the vCenter server. If you do not have vCenter server, you cannot create distributed switch. With the standard switch, we need to go to each and every switch to make the changes. And distributed switch is also a virtual switch, and which requires the enterprise plus license. If you want to create the distributed switch, you need the enterprise plus license. If you don't have enterprise plus license, you can't create distributed switch. You need to work with the standard switches. So switch policies can be created centrally and will be applied to all the switches. So as I told you, you will create the policy centrally on distributed switch. It will be applied to all the ESXi hosts. Example, if you have 50 hosts, we have to configure a port group with VLAN 25 for particular department. With the standard switch, we must configure the same things 50 times. Okay, we have 50 hosts, so the same things we need to configure 50 times. That is, we need to create 50 switches on each host. With distributed switch, we can do only one time. We will create the, so what do we say, the VLAN 25 only once. Okay, and we'll create the port group only once with VLAN 25. And guys, this distributed switch supports private VLAN. So guys, we have a concept of VLAN. Okay, so it is a famous concept. Everyone knows about this concept. So there is one more concept called private VLAN. We will discuss what is this private VLAN, which is supported by this distributed switch. It supports network vMotion, and you can do backup and restore as well with distributed switch. And guys, if you remember, the standard switch is having two ports. One is VM kernel port, another one is VM network port. Remember this one?
Yes, sir.
VM kernel port is to manage the switch. VM network port is to make the communication between the virtual machines. Remember that in standard switch?
Yes, sir.
In distributed switch also we have some port groups. Just give me 2 minutes and alright. So distributed switch is also having port groups, and it is having two port groups. One port group is known as uplink port group. Another port group is known as distributed port group. Okay, we'll discuss about this uplink port group and distributed port group. So this is the distributed switch, you can say, and inside this distributed switch we have uplink port group and distributed port group. Well, let us discuss about these two port groups. So uplink port group, this one, uplink port group is a port group, can have more than one uplinks. So this port group will have more than one uplinks. Uplinks in the sense the physical interfaces. Okay, it is connected with the physical interfaces. Okay, and uplink is used to configure physical connection of the host as well as failover and load balancing policies. This uplink, these uplinks, if you see, they are connected with the ESXi host physical interface. Okay, and they are used as we have discussed to connect the physical links, and they are used for failover and load balancing policies as well. So you will map the NIC of host to the uplink of distributed switch. So the physical NICs. Okay, where are those physical NICs? Just give me 1 second. Okay, so it is having this physical NICs. They are connected with the uplink port group. Okay, so you map physical NICs of the host. This is the physical NIC, and it is used to connect with the physical NIC. At each host level, each physical NIC is connected to the uplink port with a particular ID. So we have the physical NICs. Okay, let us say it is ESXi1 and it is ESXi2. So ESXi1 is having uplink port group. ESXi2 is also having uplink port group. So these uplink port groups are connected with the physical NICs of that particular ESXi host. Got the point?
Yes, sir. Uplink is
Ahmed?
used to
Yes.
connect with the physical ESXi host and
Is physical NIC of the current ESXi host.
Yeah.
Okay, let us leave everything. We have this host one, correct?
yes,
Host one is having this uplink group or not?
yes,
Let us say these are the virtual ports. And this ESXi1 is having physical NICs. So these uplink ports will be connected with the physical NICs of this ESXi1. These physical ports then they will be connected with the switch and ESXi host. Then we have one more port group. That port group is known as distributed port group. Okay guys, if you remember the standard switch, it is having VM kernel port and VM network port. What is the use of VM kernel port?
to connect with the physical.
VM kernel port. It is for the management. You will configure the IP address. Using this IP address, you will manage this ESXi host or not. Remember this point.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And VM network port,
Is to
That's
connect
to
with the
connect the VMs.
it will connect the VMs, correct? In
Yes.
distributed switch, we have distributed port groups. This distributed port groups is a combination of VM kernel port and VM network port. In this port group, you will have VM kernel port and you will have the virtual machines as well. Got the point? What is distributed port group? It provides network connectivity to virtual machines, and it will have the VM kernel port as well. Clear, guys?
Okay. Yes.
So this is the distributed port group. Okay, distributed port group, you can see it is having VM kernel network, and it is having the production network or VM network as well. Now guys, let us try to understand the architecture of this distributed switch. So guys, architecture in the sense, we will try to understand how the distributed switch is going to work. Okay, so a normal standard switch, okay, we are talking about standard switch. Okay, so we'll take the example of only one ESXi host, ESXi1. Okay, when you install ESXi, what it will do? It will install the standard switch or not? Guys, it will install the standard switch or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, this standard switch is having two parts.
VM kernel.
No. I will tell you what are those two parts. These two parts, they are referred as planes. Okay, it is having two planes, you can say. The first plane is management plane. Management plane. And the second plane is data plane. Okay. So you manage this switch using the IP address, correct?
Yes, sir.
So how do you manage? Using this management plane. And this switch will make the communication between different VLANs or not?
Yes.
This switch, this standard switch, it will make the communication between the different VLANs. Communication in the sense, it will forward the packet between the VLANs, correct?
Yes.
Who is doing it? Data plane. You need to understand the difference. What is this management plane and data plane? Anyone?
Management plane is used to connect, is used to configure the IP address, and data plane is used to connect between the another
Yeah.
what to say?
Data plane will allow the communication between different VLANs.
Yes, communication between the different VLANs.
Different VLANs. Okay. Now, with now guys, so this standard switch is having two planes. Both the planes are residing in this switch. All right.
Yes.
Remember this point. Here with distributed switch, the data plane is still with the standard switch. vSphere standard switch contains both data plane and management plane, and you configure and maintain each standard switch individually. vSphere distributed switch. Now we are talking about the distributed switch. This distributed switch separates data plane and management plane. Management plane is moved to distributed switch, all right, and the data plane is still with the standard switch. So management functionality of distributed switch resides on the vCenter server and lets you administer the network configuration of your environment on data center level. And data plane remains locally on every host that is associated with the distributed switch. So data plane are still with the ESXi host, but the management plane is moved to the distributed switch. So from this distributed switch, you will manage the other switches, other ESXi host. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
Both of you?
Yes, sir.
So data plane section of the distributed switch, which is also called as host proxy switch, and network configuration that you create on vCenter server, the management plane is automatically pushed on to all the proxy switches. So it will, whatever the configuration you are doing at distributed switch, it will be pushed to the, you can say, the ESXi host. So distributed switch, it will create the distributed switch. Okay, so this distributed switch, it will not have any port group. It will be empty. All right. So how to create the distributed switch? You will right click on data center and you will select this option, new distributed switch. And this is the name. Okay, if you want, you can provide the name. You can go with the default value, and the location is US data center. Then you will click next, and again you need to select the version. Okay, if you select 6.6.0, it will work with ESXi 6.7 and later version. It will not work with 6.5 and 6.0 version. If you have 6.0 in your environment, go with 6.0 option. If you have 6.5 in your environment, go with 6.5. If you don't have any older version, then go with the latest version. Okay, we will click next. Then we will see, okay, what is this number of uplinks, network IO control, default port group. So if you check this option, the default port group will be created. So we will not create any default port group now. All right. So we'll uncheck this option. Then we'll click next. And you can review your setting, like what is the name of distributed switch, D switch version 6.6.0, and number of uplinks 4. So number of uplinks 4 means it will allow. So guys, you have multiple ESXi hosts. Each host is having number of uplinks, number of physical interface. Some may have 8 uplinks, some may have 12 uplinks, but you want to utilize only 4 uplinks. So you will select 4. If you want to use more than 4 uplinks, you will select more than 4 uplinks. So it completely depends on the requirement. So we will go with the default value 4, which means it will accept only 4 uplinks from the physical ESXi hosts. So we are okay with the settings. We'll click finish. This distributed switches option is empty here because we have not created any distributed switch yet. So it is created now. If you click this distributed switch, then if you go to configure, under configure, if you go to topology, this distributed switch looks like this. Okay, this is the distributed switch, and as we have selected 4 uplinks. So these uplinks are empty. We need to connect the physical interface. We'll see how to connect the physical interfaces. And left hand side, if you see, it doesn't have any port group here. So we need to add the port group. How to add the port group? You will right click on the this is the distributed switch. Okay, this switch we have created, and it is having the uplink 131, the name. We'll right click on distributed switch, and you will select this option, distributed port group, because it doesn't have any distributed port group. So we will create the new distributed port group. It is giving some error here. All right, it is creating the port group. It is taking longer than usual. Okay, we'll wait for a few seconds, or let us cancel it and let us create it from scratch. All right, so this is the distributed port group name. If you want, you can change it. And where you are creating this distributed port group, on D switch. We'll click next, and it is having multiple options like port binding, port allocation, number of ports, network resources pool, VLAN. So we are going to discuss these options later. So we'll go with the default setting. We'll click next, and these are the settings. If you want, you can change it by going back. Now it will create the distributed port group. If you see, distributed port group is created, uplink port group is also created, but both of them are empty. This distributed port group doesn't have any VM kernel port, and it doesn't have any virtual machine as well. And if you see, these are the empty slots. No physical port is connected to these 4 uplinks. Now what we will do, we will add the VM kernel port, we will add virtual machines to this distributed switch, and we will add the uplinks as well. So guys, to add the virtual machines, VM kernel port and uplinks, we need to add the ESXi host to this switch. Okay guys, what is our next step now? What we need to do?
Add the ESXi hosts onto
We need to add the host, correct? So we will right click and we will select this option, add and manage host. Okay. Then you will get 3 options here. First is add host. The second option is manage host networking. Third option is remove host. So guys, in current situation, these 2 options are not applicable because our distributed switch doesn't have any host added, so we cannot manage it, we cannot remove it. Okay, so we need to add the host. So we'll select the first option and we'll select new hosts. Okay, so we'll add 140.10 and 140.20. If you select the first option, it will check all the hosts. Then you will click OK. Okay, if you want to add any new host, you will select new host option. So we don't have any other host here. So we'll go with 140.10 and 140.20. Then we'll click next. Then guys, we need to add the physical links. You remember, we need to add the uplinks, correct? So this ESXi host, one is having 4 NICs. NIC 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first 2 NICs are assigned to virtual switch 0. If you go to ESXi2, and ESXi2 is also having 4 NICs. NIC 0, 1, 2 and 3, and on ESXi2, NIC 0 is assigned to virtual switch 0. So what we will do, we will assign 2 and 3, they are empty, to the distributed switch. So we will select NIC2, assign uplink 1. Okay, then NIC2, assign uplink 2, then NIC2, uplink 3, uplink 4. Then we'll click next. So you will see the NICs are assigned here. This part is done. Now we need to add the VM kernel port and virtual machines to the distributed management port, distributed port. Okay, so we will add VM kernel 0 to port group, VM kernel 0 of 140.20 to the distributed switch. Okay, VM kernel port is added. Now we need to add the virtual machines. Okay, so you will get the list of virtual machines of both the ESXi host 140.10 and 140.20. So we are not going to touch 140.20 because it is having vCenter server, so we may lose the connectivity. What we will do, we will add all the virtual machines of ESXi1. Distributed port group, VM1 is assigned. Let us assign VM for switch 1 to distributed switch. Then we'll click next, finish. So you will see the physical interfaces here. You will see virtual machines and VM kernel ports here. It has started the process. Okay. So guys, if you observe here, it is having the physical links, right?
Yes, sir.
It is having VM kernel port and it is having virtual machines, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, today we have seen how to create the distributed switch, how to add the uplinks, VM kernel port and virtual machines, and we have seen the differences between standard switch and this distributed port group settings. We have general settings, advanced settings, VLAN settings, security, teaming and failover, traffic shaping setting, monitoring and miscellaneous. Okay, so let us discuss about the general settings. In the general setting, you can assign the name, you can change the name of this port group, and port binding, we have port binding option. Under this port binding option, we have static binding and ephemeral binding. If you select static binding, the virtual machines will get the same port, okay, even you restart it. with ephemeral binding, virtual machines will not get the same port after the restart. There is no guarantee that they will get the same port. This is the ephemeral port. Then we have port allocation. So the number of ports in allocated in two ways. So we can allocate the ports to the virtual machines in two ways. The first way is elastic, another way is fixed. So if you select is elastic, let us say by default the distributed switch is having 8 ports. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you have selected elastic method. So when you connect the virtual machine, let us say all the 8 ports are allocated to different virtual machines. And you have connected the 9th virtual machine. Elastic means automatically it will increase the port numbers. This is the meaning of elastic. From the name itself, we can understand. Elastic means when the new virtual machines are connected, the ports are increased automatically. If you select fixed, okay, let us say this switch is having 8 ports, and you cannot connect the 9th virtual machine. The ports are fixed. And let me show you the settings. If you see 8 ports are selected, so you can select more than 8 ports. Let us say you have selected 10 ports, and you have selected fixed means it will allocate only 10 ports to the virtual machines. Okay, if you have selected 100 ports, it will allocate 100 ports to the virtual machines. Okay, so this is the meaning of this fixed and elastic. So we have seen the general setting. Let us see the advanced settings. Okay, we will go to the advanced settings. Under this advanced settings, we have these many options. Okay, so the first option is block ports, and it is allowed. What is the meaning of block ports? So if you select allows, you can block the ports. If where is this block port? Yeah. So block port, if it is enabled, it will let you selectively block the ports from sending and receiving the data. Okay, if it is enabled. If it is disabled, you cannot select the blocking ports. You cannot block the ports. Then it is having traffic shaping option. If you select enable, if you select allowed, what this traffic shaping option will do, it will allow you to configure the traffic shaping option. So you can do the traffic shaping. Okay, guys, if you are unable to do the traffic shaping, you need to come to this option and you should allow this option. Okay, if the switch is not allowing you to do the traffic shaping, so you should allow it here. You should go to the advanced settings and you will select allowed option. And VLAN, okay, we will cover this VLAN at the end of this presentation. Okay, so it is a big topic, so we will cover it at the end of this presentation. Then we have uplink teaming. If you select allowed, it will let you do the teaming, okay, for load balancing and failover. So you remember teaming, guys, load balancing and failover, you remember that?
Yes,
Yes.
the load balancing I remember.
Yeah, so if you select allowed, then only you can perform the load balancing and failover. If you do not select allowed, you won't be able to do the load balancing. Okay, you need to take the permission from here. Okay, you need to take the permission from here, then only you can do the things. By default, most of the options are disabled. Then security policy, if allowed, provides protection of traffic against MAC address impersonation. So it will avoid this option. If you select allowed, it will enable the security. It will avoid the MAC spoofing attack. Unwanted port scanning, which will be implemented in layer 2. So this option is used to allow the security. It will save your switch from MAC address spoofing and unwanted port scanning. Then NetFlow, if it is allowed, it will enable the, so guys, NetFlow, it is a monitoring tool. If you want to monitor the network, you need to allow this option. So it will enable the NetFlow monitoring on a distributed port group. So what is this NetFlow? It is used to monitor the network. Okay, so NetFlow is a network analysis tool which help you to analyze the virtual machine IP traffic that flows through the distributed system. So it will do the monitoring. Okay. Then we have one more option, traffic filtering and marking policy. This one, traffic filtering and marking option. So guys, have you heard about quality of service?
Yes, sir, in CCNA.
Yes.
What is this quality of service? It will allow you to give the preference to any particular traffic, correct?
Yes.
Let us say the voice traffic is the highest preferred traffic. So the voice traffic should be sent first. This is the quality of service. Okay, so this option is for quality of service. So if you allow here, it will allow you to do the quality of service. If you disable, you can't do the quality of service, correct?
Okay.
So traffic filtering and marking policy in vSphere distributed switch, by using the traffic filtering and marking policy, you can protect the virtual machine from unwanted traffic, security attacks, and you can apply the quality of service. Okay. Okay. Then guys, we have VLAN option. This option, if you enable VLAN, it will allow you to configure the VLAN tagging for standard and distributed switch. What is the use of VLAN option? If you select enable, they will perform the tagging, correct? Tagging can be done in 3 ways in vSphere environment. The first method is external switch tagging, which is known as EST. The second method is virtual switch tagging, which is also known as VST. And the third method is virtual guest tagging, which is known as VGT. Let us discuss about these different types of tagging. Okay, these options are nothing but who will do the tagging. And type, you can see we can configure any VLAN trunking, and we can configure the private VLAN as well. We'll discuss about what is this private VLAN. Security, security, the same options as standard switch, promiscuous mode, MAC address changes, pods, transmit. You go back to the videos and you will see the same options. Teaming and failover, the same options. Traffic shaping. So guys, in standard switch, we can make the changes to only the outgoing traffic. Egress traffic shaping is there with the standard switch. But with extended switch, we can change, we can shape the incoming traffic as well. Got the point?
Private VLAN.
Yeah, private VLAN. Okay, what this private VLAN do? Okay, let us say let me draw one diagram. Let us say this is the switch, and we have created two VLANs, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. Okay, let us say we have some computers. In VLAN 10, we have 4 computers. In VLAN 20 also we have 4 computers. And let us say the VLAN 10 we have assigned 192.168.1.0 network. In VLAN 20 we have assigned 192.168.2.0 network. The IP addresses here in 1.0 network are 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Here it is 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 and 2.4. So now guys, these four computers are in VLAN 10. These four computers are in VLAN 20. So these four computers, they will communicate with each other, right? 1.1 will communicate with 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. And these four computers, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, they will communicate with each other, correct?
Yes, sir.
These four computers, they will communicate with each other or not?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
These four computers, they will communicate with each other or not?
Yes.
Can we make the communication between this VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 computers? No, right?
No.
It is not possible with layer 2 switch. You need to connect the router, then they will communicate. We are not talking about inter-VLAN routing here. We are just discussing about the simple layer 2 concept here. Can these two VLANs communicate in layer 2 environment?
No.
They will not communicate, right? This is the concept of VLAN. And everyone know about this concept, correct? Now,
Yes.
let us see what is private VLAN. What this private VLAN do? Let us say we don't want 1.1 should communicate with 1.4. So what we can do, we can create one more VLAN inside VLAN 10. And we will not make the communication between the devices of same VLAN. This is the use of private VLAN. Your private VLAN, we have secondary VLAN and primary VLAN and secondary VLAN. Okay. How many VLANs are there in private VLAN?
Two, primary and secondary.
Primary and secondary. This primary VLAN is known as promiscuous VLAN. What is this primary VLAN is known as?
Promiscuous VLAN.
Promiscuous VLAN. And under the secondary VLAN, we have isolated VLAN and community VLAN. Okay, this isolated and community, they are the secondary VLANs. Just remember the names. I will tell you what is the use of these three VLANs. How many VLANs are there in private VLAN?
Two, primary and secondary.
Primary and secondary. This promiscuous VLAN is the primary VLAN, correct?
Yes.
Isolated and community VLANs, they are the secondary VLANs, correct?
Secondary, yes, sir.
Now guys, let us try to understand what is the use of this promiscuous VLAN, isolated VLAN and community VLAN. Your private VLAN, the promiscuous VLAN is the primary VLAN. Let us say in our example it was 10, correct?
Yes.
It was, let us say our primary VLAN is 10. Okay, and this secondary VLAN, it will be like 11 and 12. So if you put any VLAN, any PC in isolated VLAN, okay, let us say we have put these virtual machines in isolated VLAN. What will happen here? What is happening here? These isolated VLANs, they will not communicate with each other. Let us say we don't want to make the communication between virtual machine 1 and virtual machine 4, correct? So you will put those two VLANs in isolated VLAN, VM1 and VM4. They will not communicate with each other, but they will communicate with VLAN 10. Getting the point?
Yes, sir.
Isolated means they are isolated with each other. They will not communicate with each other, but they will communicate with the primary VLAN. They will communicate with the promiscuous VLAN. Clear this point?
Yes, sir.
Now guys, let us try to understand what is this community VLAN. Community VLAN means these VLANs will communicate with each other, but they will not communicate with the isolated VLAN. They will communicate with the primary VLAN. Both these VLAN, isolated and community, they will communicate with the primary VLAN, promiscuous VLAN. The difference here is in isolated VLAN, these VLANs will not communicate with each other. In community VLAN, these VLANs will communicate with each other. Got the point? Any
Yes, sir.
confusion?
No,
No.
got it. Got it now.